Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so pumped you're here. If you're a business owner, a property manager, or honestly, just someone who loves knowing how things are actually built and protected out there in the real world, you are in exactly the right place today. We're diving into a super practical topic: how to properly evaluate and vet security shutter contractors. We're pulling all our insights directly from the hard-earned secrets of an industry veteran, Jessie Bajwa. He's a professional installer who has literally seen it all. So we're going to break down the exact playbook used to separate the true craftsmen from, well, the sketchy salespeople. Trust me, this is going to save you from some serious headaches and some very costly failures down the line.
All right, so here is our game plan for today. We're going to cover the installation reality, Test 1, the site visit, Test 2, the anchor point, Test 3, warranties and permits, Test 4, inventory or advice, and we'll wrap it all up with making the right choice. Let's jump right in with Section 1, the installation reality, what you can't see.
Okay, we kind of have to start with a bit of a harsh truth here. A lot of well-meaning business owners will go out, get 3 quotes for a security shutter, look straight at the bottom line, and just buy the absolute cheapest one. But you know what happens? A year later, a good chunk of those same owners end up frantically calling a real professional to come out and fix a completely disastrous job left by that cheap guy. Listen to this exact quote from our source, because it really hits the nail on the head. The product is maybe half of what you're buying. The install is the other half, and it's the half that fails. That right there requires a total mindset shift. You aren't just going to a store and buying a metal box to slap on a wall. You are hiring a contractor for an installation project. The physical metal, that is only 50% of the equation.
Think about the difference between what we call the sidewalk view and what actually matters. I mean, from the sidewalk, a security shutter looks incredibly simple, right? Metal comes down, metal goes up. It seems completely foolproof. But what you can't see from that sidewalk view is everything that actually dictates whether that shutter is going to work when it's really put to the test. I'm talking about how it's anchored, how precisely it fits the unique dimensions of your building, how the power is routed. Those hidden structural realities, they are the entire ballgame.
Moving right along to Section 2, Test 1, the site visit.
This is the very first green flag you need to be actively looking for when a contractor starts engaging with you. It's a crucial question you have to ask yourself before you even think about signing anything. Did they walk your building? If someone is giving you a quote over a quick phone call, or even worse, they just ask you to text over a single photo of your storefront, they are doing something incredibly dangerous. They are just guessing. And I can absolutely guarantee you're going to find out exactly where that guess was wrong on installation day.
The reason they can't just guess is because of this one fundamental rule: the building dictates the install. A true pro absolutely has to walk the store. They have to inspect the front, check out the back, really examine the specific wall they intend to mount to, and figure out where the power sources are. Your physical building is what decides if the shutter should go on the interior or the exterior. It decides if the material needs to be solid or perforated. It dictates where the housing box will sit, and crucially, it determines exactly what the structural header above your door or window can actually hold up. If they didn't walk it, they simply do not know.
All right, Section 3, Test 2, the anchor point.
So, if Test 1 gets them in the door, Test 2 is what really separates the true pros from the cheap guys. Here's your next essential script question to just memorize. Look the installer right in the eye and ask point blank, what are you mounting this to? Because a security shutter is completely 100% useless if its anchor point fails. If they can't answer this question plainly and with total confidence, well, you have your answer right then and there. Walk away.
What you're listening for here is the phrase structural mounting. This means they're actually fastening the system deep into the building's core, like the heavy header or solid masonry with proper reinforcements. What you absolutely do not want is an installer who just plans to screw these heavy security shutters into that flimsy, weak aluminum storefront frame that's really only designed to hold up your glass windows. And here's the terrifying part. An incorrectly mounted shutter screwed into weak aluminum looks absolutely identical to a properly mounted one on day one. You can't tell the difference. But the very first time someone tries to break in and actually test that barrier, the entire unit is just going to rip right off the wall.
Section 4, Test 3, warranties and permits.
Now we're shifting gears a bit, moving from the physical metal and bolts over to the paperwork. And believe it or not, the fine print in a contract tells you a whole lot about the true character of the person standing behind that installation. Let's compare an honest warranty to a massive red flag. So an honest warranty usually covers the parts that should naturally last. Typically something like 1 year on the labor, maybe a few years on the motor. But most importantly, an honest warranty says out loud what it does not cover. It won't cover vandalism. It's not going to cover someone ramming the shutter or a car accidentally backing into it. Why? Because a barrier's entire job is to be attacked. No one can realistically warranty a barrier against doing the exact job it was built to do. On the flip side, we have the too good to be true warranty. If an installer promises to cover absolutely everything, including vandalism, forever, yeah, you need to be very, very suspicious.
Think about it. The financial reality is pretty undeniable here. If they say they cover everything forever, one of two things has to be true. Either they simply have no intention of ever actually honoring that warranty when you call them in a panic, or they've quietly priced that massive, unpredictable risk into the initial cost of your job, which basically means you are vastly overpaying right up front. You want a clear warranty with honest, logical exclusions.
And hey, while we're on the subject of paperwork, here's another fantastic test question you should definitely ask. Who pulls the permit? A lot of these installs require city permits, but owners rarely even think to bring it up. An honest, straight-shooting installer is going to tell you right up front, look, I don't pull the permits. The owner, the general contractor, or the architect pulls it, and I will hand over all the technical documentation you need to get it approved. That is a completely normal, honest, industry standard arrangement. A bad installer, though, they'll get incredibly vague about the whole thing. And the kicker is, if a permit was needed and nobody pulled it, the city isn't going to go after the installer who vanished into the wind. The person left holding all the liability and those hefty fines is going to be you.
Section 5. Test 4. Inventory or advice.
Okay, this test is really all about the psychology of the salesperson. And it's great because you can run it during your very first conversation with them. Just pay close attention to what they lead with. A real professional installer diagnoses the problem before they prescribe a solution, kind of like a doctor. They start by asking you questions. They ask about your building specifics, they ask about your operating hours, and they ask what specific security threats you're actually losing sleep over. It's only after gathering all that data that they recommend a solution. But if a salesperson answers the phone and just immediately starts pitching a specific product or a package deal or some fancy upgrade before asking you a single question, they aren't offering you security advice. They're just trying to move inventory.
And here is the ultimate green flag. A truly honest installer might look at your property and say straight up, you know what, you might not even need a shutter. Seriously, they'll tell you if your money is actually better spent on just getting a heavy-duty backdoor lock, or maybe installing some high-lumen security lighting all around your perimeter. An installer who has the integrity to look you in the eye and tell you that you don't need to buy their expensive product, that is the exact same installer you can trust implicitly when they tell you that you do need a shutter.
Finally, Section 6. Making the right choice. So, we've covered the hidden realities, the structural tests, the paperwork traps, and even the psychology of the pitch. Let's wrap all this up into an actionable conclusion so you know exactly how to execute what you've just learned. Here's your simple 3-step playbook to start the process off right. Step 1. Walk the store with them. Demand that on-site visit and literally walk the perimeter together. Step 2. Get exact mounting details. Ask that critical anchor question and make sure they are targeting the structural core of the building, not just some weak facade. And step 3, put it all in writing. Make sure that honest warranty, the permit responsibilities, and those mounting specifics are fully documented before a single dollar ever changes hands.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to really cement everything we've talked about today. The next time a contractor hands you a quote, ask yourself, will you just be buying a metal box, or will you be hiring for a structural installation? Remember, the product is only half of what you're buying. Take these tests we've gone over, use them to vet your next contractor with total confidence, and make sure your building is truly, actually protected. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Stay curious out there and keep learning.